Welcome to the Running Channel podcast with me, Andy Baddeley, Rick Kelsey, and then an upgrade this week. We're joined by nutrition expert, running enthusiast, and content creator, Siân Seccombe, who's going to be taking us through all of the best and perhaps more importantly, worst foods to eat before and after the runs.
I mean, let's be honest, Andy. Sarah once had a full fry-up before pacing me to Oxford Half. So we kind of need this advice, don't we?
Yeah.
We're going to be covering everything from easy runs to interval sessions to race day itself.
Yeah, you mentioned Sarah there. We have jumped at the chance to an upgrade because Sarah's actually on holiday this week.
Brutal.
So we have decided to go one better and get someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to love listening to that, isn't
It'll
she?
make a nice change. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry, Sarah. We miss you already. A little bit, I reckon.
bit,
But
yeah.
also, we're going to cover a little bit of news and answer some of your questions. Let's get into it.
Oh, it's nice to sit down.
Oh, Rick, there we go. Lovely little intro there because Rick is fresh off the back of Hackney Half Marathon less than 24 hours ago as we record this. How are you feeling?
Oh, I had such a ball. I literally had such a great time.
I've just been shown by Jess from the Running Channel, I've just been shown a lovely video of you a few hours post-race and perhaps a few beers post-race, or at least I assume based on this video, a few beers post-race because you're doing a lovely little dance in a pub.
Yeah, I think I was singing Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac.
Return of the Mac. What's that, late 90s?
Yeah, probably late 90s.
Yeah.
Come on, Return of the Mac.
Oh my goodness. Are we going to have to... Actually, I was going to say we're going to have to pay royalties for that. Absolutely not. It's unrecognisable. I know exactly what you're talking about there.
We had such a good time. Hackney Half is just an incredible race in Hackney in East London. And it's got 25,000 runners. It's one of the biggest half marathons in the UK. And actually, when it comes down to fun and kind of reputation, I think it's got probably a reputation as one of the best half marathons kind of globally as far as atmosphere is concerned. You run through incredibly dense, small, windy streets of East London with some incredible hairpin turns in it.
Is East London flatter than North London?
It is, but I would say the course was, I think I did about 77 metres of elevation over the half, but actually it feels a lot hillier than that. I mean, there are some short, stubby uphills in it, and I did have to stop for a wee on kilometre 4.
Kilometre 4, so in the early part.
Yeah.
The early part. Okay. Well, interestingly, we can find out a little bit more when she joins us. So just so it's not weird that we're not talking to her at the moment, Siân's actually not here yet. So she's going to be joining us once we start talking about which are the best foods or worst foods to eat. But she also ran Hackney, so we can get her take on it, whether she saw you out on the course as well.
So we're in, I can't wait to speak to Siân about this. We are in the pub post-Hackney.
Yeah.
We're just having a chat, having a debrief. Owen and I are going
I'm sure
through
she's
our
going to say
splits.
alcohol is not good for recovery.
No, it's not. We're having a debrief, and we just start chatting to this guy. His name's Hugo, and he's like, "How'd you get on, Rick?" I said, "Oh, we were going for negative splits, Owen and I." And I showed him my ladder, going the right way of negative splits, starting at about 5:40, going down.
Yeah,
to
I've got some splits here as well. So let's dive into the data in a minute.
Going down to about 5. And I was like, "Well, how did you get on, mate?" And he went, "Yeah, I did all right. I was like, "You seem to finish really early. You got changed. You look so fresh." He goes, "Yeah, finished just after 10. I said, "After 10?
Didn't it start
10
at
a.m.?
9?
Yeah, I was like, "God, you must have been near the top there, top 10. He goes, yeah, I won it.
What? So you were just randomly chatting to the winner of the Hackney Half in the pub?
Yeah, his name's Hugo Fry.
Yeah.
And he won it.
Amazing. Well, congrats, Hugo.
Yeah, he ran through the ribbon and he got £250 worth of Wizz Air vouchers.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So you can probably go to Bucharest about 10 times.
Yes, we were with there from Bucharest, weren't we, in our much maligned trip because of various difficulties getting there. Oh, wow, that's cool.
It was absolutely unbelievable.
He didn't have to suffer like a version of The Last Man on Earth or anything in the pub, did he? It looked like you were in a singing mood
someone
from the
did
video.
come up to me and say that The Last Man on Earth got them through the last kilometre. Honestly, that is on camera somewhere.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's unbelievable. So we had challenged you, Sarah and I had challenged you to try and run negative splits.
Yeah.
So actually that's I'm going to skip to the end first. So what was your personal best before Hackney? Because this wasn't a personal best attempt. This was
it was really nice that I wasn't actually going for a personal best. My personal best was
and still is.
8 minutes to 2. It still is.
152.
Yeah.
So you ran 154.
Yeah.
I'm going to give away the finish time, which I think shows you sometimes having a different mental focus. This is related to a question we got asked last week, didn't we, on the podcast about whether doing a workout within a half marathon attempt or marathon attempt. Might help you run a personal best. So you're within 2 minutes of your personal best by not really thinking about time, not really thinking about the end goal at all, just purely thinking about intermediate goals like pace for the first half, pace for the second half.
Absolutely. Not once was I thinking about a PB. I didn't even know what time I was kind of on for until about 2 kilometers out when I looked at my watch and it was about 1:30 something. And I thought, all right, I'll be quite close here, but I'm not going to beat it. And it was such a nice way of running.
Yeah.
Not going for a PB.
We'd set you an aggressive challenge and we said we were going to be quite harshly marking you on this. This is your, and I'm going to pick the simplest way of measuring it was like, did you do a negative split? So was your second half?
Yes, I did,
Yes,
Andy.
you did. Was your second half faster than your first half? I've got the numbers here as well.
Go on.
So from my calculations, because we didn't actually have an official halfway split time, I think you were about 59:30 at halfway.
Yeah.
That is because you were 56:24 at 10K. So you got another just over half a kilometre from that point.
Sounds about right, yeah.
So that means you must have run 59:30 and then 55:13.
Hello.
Which is that I think that's that's a significant negative split. So Sarah's not here for Sarah and I
to pass.
Yeah, absolutely, you pass. And I was thinking that Sarah and I were harshly judging you, and I'm going to say it, had no faith at all. Like
because I know him with me.
There's very few things that I've been less confident in my time at the running channel than you being able to diligently stick to split times. But I have to stand corrected, and yes, I think producer Owen behind the curtain deserves a lot of credit here.
Yeah, Owen was phenomenal. Although he did say to me at the end, mate, I thought I was really doing your head in because you stopped speaking to me after kilometre 15. I was like, mate, I didn't stop speaking to you. I couldn't breathe.
Because of the negative splits you're trying to run.
Yeah,
so even though it was enjoyable, you're still going pretty hard at the end.
Yeah, in the end, when we got up to about, like I said, 5 minutes per kilometre pace.
Yeah.
For the last 5K after you've done 16. Yeah, that felt quite punchy. I think we were down to right at the end about 4:20.
Full send was the expression that Owen used to describe your last 100 meters.
Yeah, it was quite punchy. It was so much fun though, mate. Honestly, it was absolutely just one of the best half marathons I've ever done. Meanwhile, you've been on a flight again.
Oh my goodness! I was at Garmin headquarters in Kansas City in the US, which interestingly, Kansas City, there's two parts to it.
Yeah.
Big part of Kansas City is not in Kansas. It's in Missouri, so it's in a different state.
Really?
Yeah. I thought you'd like that. I know you like these little things.
A big part of Kansas.
I think there's two parts to Kansas City. Or the main part maybe even is not even in Kansas, it's in Missouri.
That is wild.
Yeah.
How was your aeroplane route?
Oh my goodness. So a lot of people don't realize this, that Garmin's original business is aviation. And so a huge number of small planes, so up to kind of small private jets, are actually have Garmin equipment in them. So all of the like telemetry, all of the displays, controls, all that stuff is built and made by Garmin. So we got to have this amazing tour of like a hangar, and then we got taken up in a little 4-seater airplane. I wish I knew the name of it. It's annoying.
Cessna?
No, it wasn't a Cessna, but that kind of.
Yeah.
So it had a single propeller at the front.
And here's a big US-UK difference. Yeah. In the UK, we say aeroplane.
Yeah.
In the US, they say airplane.
Yes, spelled completely differently.
Yeah.
Good fact.
Thank you.
And it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
Going on a small plane?
Yes. Just the amount that you can see, and seeing all of the instrumentation was really cool, and seeing how much once you're up in the sky and hit autopilot, and then you can be adjusting your heading and bearing and the kind of all of the dampers and stuff that supposedly smooth out the turbulence, but absolutely did not. And I was feeling a bit queasy by the time we got back to the ground.
Yeah. Did you see some good new tech though?
I did. We were out there for the launch of the new Forerunner 570 and 970 watches, which was really exciting. So actually I'm wearing the purple version of one of them right now, the 570.
That looks quite jazzy.
Yeah, so this will be another watch that you wouldn't know how to use.
No.
And I did a little bit of running out there because I was so jet lagged. I was actually running at about 5 a.m. every morning because I was awake, and I thought, well, I might as well.
You are just air miles Baddeley now.
That's what it feels like.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know when we go to Japan later in the year, you're just going to go in the lounge on yourself?
Because I have so many air miles.
And leave me and Sarah outside.
Yes. I mean, that sounds brilliant. That might be worth it. Even if I don't have enough air miles to go in the lounge, I might just pay for myself to do that to avoid you. There is before we welcome Siân in and start talking about food, I feel like I've been putting a shift in. You put a shift in at Hackney Half.
Thanks, mate.
But last week we introduced a brand new segment to the Running Channel podcast, which was Rick's Challenge. Yeah. So how did that go? Did you wear your nasal strips for the half marathon?
Yeah, so...
I mean, no is the answer.
No, but it all got a little confusing. Everything was... It was full speed ahead Saturday night, because I actually stayed in a hotel 3 miles away from where I live. I know, is that bad?
Quite bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that so you got a good night's sleep away from the kids?
Yeah.
And so that you could remember things that were for like what is a pretty finely tuned, well-planned...
Correct.
A highly rehearsed production.
That's right.
But you forgot the things.
But I forgot the nose strips.
Yeah.
I did, however, have a mirror above my bed.
For that. Oh, wow. Weird. What kind of hotel were you staying in?
I had a mirror above my bed and a karaoke room to the left of me.
Wow. Were you on a stag do on your own?
No, I was with Owen.
In the same room?
They put us in a hotel. Honestly.
Were you sharing a room?
It was bizarre, like leaving North London and getting a bus to a hotel on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Well, there was kind of, and then, no, I didn't share a room.
Oh, sorry, I just picked up. So you weren't both staring up at the same mirror?
No. We had a nice, sober, healthy food.
Yeah, so the night before was healthy, and then afterwards got the carnage.
And I stayed at the hotel, and I had the nose strips that help expand your nasal passages, so you can bring in more oxygen when you're running, and hopefully breathe in more filtered air by using your nose and not your mouth. However, on the morning, I went to the bag drop. Went to the loo.
Yeah,
started doing some warm up, stretchy stuff. Nothing new on race day, apart from I didn't wear underpants for the first time during a race on your advice. That's
absolutely not my advice. That's the opposite of my advice.
What?
There's no point in my life that I've raced without wearing underwear underneath my running shorts.
No, you told me. You said to me some of the shorts have got the underwear built in.
Yes. But I still would wear underwear underneath those.
You're joking me.
The specifics here is that I don't.
Chafed like I've never chafed before.
I've seen a video of you that won't see the light of day because it's so rude. After the race, you're just shouting about it.
Andy, I'm not playing up here. You generally told me to wear.
No, what I was trying to tell you was that what I was trying to say is that you like to wear running boxer shorts. And I think that wearing those underneath shorts that have got the built-in briefs is weird, but I would wear briefs that kind of are the same size and shape as the built-in briefs underneath the shorts.
All right, well, so that went wrong.
Well, speaking of going wrong, you clearly piled in a few treats and maybe a few beers after the half marathon yesterday. So I reckon it's time that we get Siân in to start talking to us about what you should or shouldn't eat before and after running.
Let's do it.
As if by magic, because we've had to record this a few times, because Rick fluffed the word nutritionist a few times, we are joined by sports nutritionist Siân. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Sorry. Well, I was putting an extra L in there. Nutritionist.
It's quite impressive, actually.
Thank you.
There we go. I'm sorry, mate. You asked me to redo it so you could edit it out, and I've just made you look silly.
God, it's because me and Siân, we actually did some serious work over the weekend. We ran. Yeah. What did you do? You sat on a plane for 10 hours?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because you've just done Hackney as well with Rick. Did you see him out there?
I didn't.
No.
But I was cheering from afar.
Yeah, too fast. Although you have to hold yourself back at the moment, is that right?
Yes, I'm currently on a bit of a build back from an injury. So we're going, but we're not racing. But we're still going, so that's what matters. Yeah,
that's the important thing, is being sensible. Not always Rick's forte.
No. How did you get on though?
Good. I really enjoyed it. It was such a nice race.
It's so cool, isn't it?
It's so cool. Like the fact that there's so many people there and so many like kids out having fun and seeing adults doing it, and so many communities and like run clubs at the side of the street. Amazing.
You get squeezed a bit.
You do.
In the middle.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite expecting it to go down to about 1.5 meters on kilometre 8.
And the fact that then you're like, there's people running on both sides of the street, there's spectators in the middle on both sides, and there's that one strip where you go down like under a railway bridge. Yeah. Just so many people everywhere.
So many people. We walked that area later on in the afternoon when there was nobody there. And it was actually just a massive street in the middle of nowhere, but they'd just been ram-packed in.
Yeah, so good though. They do it so well.
It's just fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you fuel well before you started yesterday?
I would say I did, yeah. Yeah.
So what's your go-to this was a half marathon, so what's your go-to like timing and content of what you would eat?
Yeah, so I am a bagel girl.
Okay.
Like that is I used to be an oats girl.
Right.
But now I'm a bagel girl.
Okay.
So for a half or any long run, I always have the same breakfast.
Yeah.
Because I practice it and I know that my stomach reacts well and it fuels me well when I have that breakfast.
This is good as well. Rick hates talking about poo or poos on a run. So,
Yeah.
you know, if we can eat the right thing to avoid that, then we're on to a winner.
Yeah, exactly. So you practice and then your tummy goes, oh, I know what to do with this.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, you went
I'm
there
fine.
early.
Yeah.
I smashed a gel on the start line yesterday.
That's fine.
I've never done that before.
That's fine.
Yeah, Rick, what are you talking about? Oh, you never do, because you've been having gels on your longer runs.
Yeah, the same gel. It was nothing new.
Okay,
it was the same type of gel that
Yeah.
I always use. It was just the timing.
Yeah.
Because we were hanging around in the pen a long time.
Yeah.
It was slightly longer than I thought we were going to be hanging around in the pen.
Yeah.
It's a thin course trying to get that many people, 25,000 through. So I thought I need a bit of a boost here. I've been standing here for a while. So I don't think I broke the cardinal rule of nothing new on race day.
No.
I just feel like I needed it.
And that's the thing with a race, this is where you have to really think about your timing. So normally, if I was just going out for a long run, I would wake up, do some mobility, have my normal breakfast.
Yeah.
So I'd have a decaf coffee, a glass of orange juice, my...
Decaf?
Yeah, I'm quite sensitive to caffeine and I don't want my heart rate to go up on an easy run. So I have decaf coffee just because I like the taste, but then I don't need the caffeine.
Isn't caffeine a fuel though?
No, it's not actually giving you energy. It's just a stimulant.
So it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And it will raise your heart rate.
Yeah, so it can raise your heart rate, but it can reduce your perceived effort. So the pace you're running at feels less hard, even though your body's working the same amount, it just feels less hard.
I see.
So it's not actually giving you any energy, which is when like that mid-morning slump, if you're like, oh God, I'm desperate for a coffee, are you or are you hungry?
Okay.
Like,
I suppose,
yeah.
That's
I
interesting
suppose the
itself.
lucky thing is a lot of people when they're racing, they won't actually be. I mean, I was racing in my home city, but coincidentally, I was actually staying in a hotel. But most people will be in a hotel or somewhere they're not familiar with.
You don't have the same control over it, do you?
So you don't have the same control.
Yeah.
So what should we be trying to go for?
Yeah.
If there's a half decent array of stuff on offer?
Yeah, we didn't actually let you tell us what you had. You said bagel, and then we went off on a tangent.
yeah, well, this is one of the reasons I became a bagel girl, because oats, which is what I used to have, they're not that portable. Like I can't eat them on the move on the way to the start of the race. And if I'm going abroad or I'm in a hotel, that big vat of gloopy porridge, I have no idea what's in that. Have they put oil in it? Have they put something freaky in it that I wouldn't normally have? Whereas I'm quite like an oats purist. So I was like, okay, what can I have that then is a bit more transferable? So I now have bagels with a bit of peanut butter because it helps me stay fuller for longer, jam, simple carbs, banana with my bagel, some orange juice because that's extra carbs. And then I will build that around my race morning. So,
And is that just to jump in? Is that a white bagel?
yeah.
I think people might think that was. I think I'd seen you mention this before, and loads of people were like, "But I'm supposed to have whole grain."
No.
So why? Yeah, but why not?
Yeah, exactly. So a whole grain bagel with loads of seeds and everything on it has got a much higher fiber content.
Yeah.
And when we're going for our runs, the idea is that our pre-run fuel is lower in fiber.
Because of digestive transit.
Yeah,
Is that,
exactly.
Okay, this kind of goes because if I go shopping for the kids, I'll always try and buy brown bread or 50-50.
Yeah.
Because you just think, well, it's better for them.
Yeah.
But actually, pre-race, better to go for the white.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's no good or bad food. There's just different situations to have it in. So for your kids' lunchbox, whole grain, probably better.
Yeah.
But for you before a race, you want more simple carbs. So lower fiber, white bread, white bagels.
What about yogurt?
It's high in protein. So ideally, it's probably not the best thing to be having pre-run. You'd actually save your yogurt for post-run. But if you're having oats and like you like some yogurt on the top, fine.
Okay.
But I wouldn't have a yogurt bowl. I'd have oats.
Whoopsie.
Are you going to tell me you had a
is
bowl
that
of
what you had
yogurt?
before?
I had a yogurt and fruit.
So you're pretty low on carbs
Yeah.
and you're high on fiber and protein.
But I did have a chicken katsu curry the night before.
The night before, though. So, you know.
What's your face doing?
I'm just waiting for the reaction here from the expert. That's what I was just looking at you thinking. Do you? What I was doing.
It
was
was
looking at you
really
thinking,
good. It was really good.
Do you ever think about anything? Was what I was thinking.
It was very good.
I'm glad. I'm happy for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. It went well with your revision.
Okay. Again, happy for you that you had a lovely evening. But I would say, from a sports nutrition point,
Okay, bad.
is it something you would normally eat?
Chicken katsu curry?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is it something you normally have the night before a long run?
No.
Do you give any thought at all to what you have the night before a long run though?
No.
Maybe we stop.
But I do think very carefully about what I eat on the day.
Yeah, but I think also it's the thing of remembering, yes, what we eat the day before is important because that is building up our carbs
Yes.
for the next day, but it doesn't solve everything. So just because you had a big dinner the night before, overnight, your body has still used your glycogen stores to get you through the night. So you're waking up and your glycogen stores aren't tip top. They're not full. And that's your energy source that's going to keep you going and get you through your run. So
what would be ideal the night before then?
you can have a chicken katsu curry. Like if you're used to having that and digesting that, that's fine. If you've got loads of white rice, that's a really good carb source. Chicken, protein, fine.
Yeah.
If it's deep fried and really super greasy, it's probably, you know.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking it's probably the grease and spice combination that are the risks for that.
Exactly. I'm not used to eating something like that the night before a run. So for me, terrible idea. But if you've done that a few times.
It made me smile.
There we go.
I mean, that's Rick's approach to high performance sport, I think, is mainly based on what makes him smile.
And you know, there's an argument for that.
Yeah.
But would also probably make you smile if you didn't have to go to the Portaloo mid-run.
Okay. I was fine.
And you know what? That might work for you, and it's working out what works for you.
Yeah.
But building it around, you want ideally, especially right before a run, lower fibre, good carbs, a mixture of simple, so quick energies, and complex carbs. Yeah. So having that kind of jam, honey, which is your quick energy.
On a bagel.
I've
got this nailed now.
The bagel's also fairly quick carbs though, right?
Yeah.
Fairly quick carbs. There's kind of a spectrum of quickness of carbs.
Is that glycemic index? Is that the right?
Kind of related.
Kind of,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not so black and white of like this carb, it belongs to this camp and this carb belongs to this camp. Like your banana, what colour your banana is moves it along that scale.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So if you have a super like brown mushed up banana,
that's going to be the quickest sugar.
Yeah, that's real quick sugars. Yeah. Whereas if you have like a slightly green one, you're on the other end of the spectrum. Okay. So it's all about thinking about, if you're looking at your plate before a run, have you got that mixture of different types of carbs, and you want to keep it low fibre, low protein. So then you digest it quickly, your tummy's not going to get upset mid-run, and we're rocking and rolling.
So almost pre-run is like, if you were just to pick up a magazine or a newspaper or read the headlines of the last 10 years, pre-run is like have the opposite of what everyone tells you to have. I'm generalizing, but there's loads of stuff that people will be scared of having, particularly sugar.
Absolutely. And that's why like the kind of diet culture, Instagram, like don't eat this, don't eat that. When it comes to sports and performance, like throw it all out the window. Like lots of people say to me, oh, you preach about having chocolate milk after a run. Oh, it's so bad for you because it's so high in sugar. It's so high. No, that's literally the point. Like, I want the sugar. Yeah. What do you think a gel is? Like,
don't you think they throw just bad things at you when you finish a race? So I was handed a kind of stodgy kind of chocolatey bar and some spicy crisps.
The crisp maybe is a bit rogue. I think the chocolate's probably all right.
The spicy, and I was just like, I was like, no, thank you. All I was saying is no, thank you.
You're like, no, thank you. I want to get to the pub, have five beers and a pizza.
I was just saying no, thank you to all I wanted was water.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact those crisps also plantain crisps, which you've probably not eaten before, like it's not ideal. The stodgy kind of like cereal bar-esque thing is not awful. No. Because it's just like oats and a bit of sugar. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think there were protein ones maybe.
There were, yeah.
But again, it's like, it's not something you've ever had before. You don't want to then ruin your post-run celebrations by having something you've never had before, get a really horrible tummy ache and have to go home.
Well, that was my thought.
Yeah.
Can I ask a bit about timings? Because I know what I kind of struggle with sometimes around the whole running and dietary advice is the idea that everything's subjective to some people, because it might be, but it's not very useful. Do you know what I mean? So what's a rough time that we should eat before we run on a big race like a half marathon?
Yeah. So big race, if you're running it full gas PB pace. Yeah. Because there's also a link to intensity when it comes to timing. So if we're going that top end of like really going for it, running intensely, you want to be leaving at least an hour and a half from finishing your breakfast
Okay.
to going over the start line. So that's where, you were saying about in the pen, you felt like you were kind of running out of juice. What I would do is I would go from the time going, okay, I know I'm roughly going to cross the start line at X time. Let's go backwards and see what time I need to finish eating my breakfast. So that's how we work out when you're going to be having it. But an hour and a half is generally, for most people, if you're having a low fiber, low protein, high carb breakfast, that is the ideal like sweet spot.
And would you have anything between that hour and a half point and the start?
Not
like to top it up.
Not unless you really, really started to feel like you were flagging.
Yeah.
I think that's really
so
useful.
you were like, so yesterday I was frozen. I was absolutely freezing cold waiting in the start pen. So I had an extra gel chew because I knew I was shivering. So I was burning more energy. So I was going to feel depleted.
Interesting.
But also I get it when, if I get overexcited and I'm like really pumped up, I am ripping through carbs. Like my body is burning so many carbs because I've got
excited.
adrenaline going.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited. So therefore I need to think, oh, hang on, I'm burning more energy. Maybe I should have chuck a couple of Haribos in my mouth before I then drop my bag. Things like that, of just being conscious of like, what's my body saying and what's my body doing?
And then also what you as an individual are capable of tolerating. So
Yeah.
I'm fortunate that I could probably eat a banana like almost as I'm about to start running.
Yeah.
Certainly within the half an hour before running, that wouldn't give me any problems.
Yeah.
But I know other people who who were training at a pretty serious level, and if they ate within 3 hours of running, they were in trouble.
Yeah. And it's that subjectivity, but it's also kind of going, there's also then the link to intensity.
Yeah.
So if you're going out for a chill run, you could eat way closer. So if I'm going out for an easy run, I can eat literally 5 minutes before I leave the door.
Okay, so a lot of us probably listening and watching this show now are getting it wrong because
You definitely are.
Well, yeah, because you're not taking you're not taking into account your pen time and how much you're waiting around. So say your race starts at 9 o'clock and you're in pen D, halfway down the pecking order. So you're going off more like 9:30, 9:45.
Yeah.
Most people be like, well, race start time, get in the pen at 9. I'll finish my breakfast at 7:30. But so we're completely missing it here. So what that's doing by leaving it too long is basically our fuel is not in the right place.
Exactly. And it's actually a lot of people, like for me yesterday, it takes me a blooming long time to get to Hackney. I had to leave the house at 6 a.m. So I can't have my breakfast before I leave the door, because then by the time I get to the start line, I'm going over, I'm hungry. I'm due lunch.
So what we're missing out on there? So what's happening?
So it's basically that you've digested it and that your blood glucose. So when we're having that simple carbs, when you're having it, so you say that honey, that's gonna like help boost you in the first like hour. But then you've like lost that hour. And then the carbs that have then come through to support your blood sugars then, so your bagel and your like slower release carbs that have come through to support your blood glucose, those ones are then running out as well because you're kind of 2-3 hours later.
So we're over the top of the hill.
Yeah, exactly. And you probably would feel hungry. Your blood sugar's starting to go down. And then you have the problem of when you take that first gel, your gut's going to go, oh, hello, I like this. And that's when you then have issues with water balance and then just sending you to the portaloos.
Well, we've got a list here then of, we talked about timings and things that you would say you'd eat before a run. Basically, you're like keeping the fibre relatively low and the sort of sugar carb content high. We've got a list of things that from a quick internet search says not to eat before a run.
Yeah.
And I guess, would you agree with these things?
Yeah.
And this is what I was told as a kid. So I remember my cross-country coach, actually the same cross-country teacher Rick and I had, Dave, would always be like, no cheese, don't have cheese sandwiches before a run, because in his mind that was like fatty protein, like probably quite hard to digest.
Yeah.
But I've got like greasy foods, high fat, slow digestion, risk of cramps, potentially.
Yeah, definitely. Like high fat is just not what your stomach needs or wants before you. It's also not giving you what you need.
Yeah.
It's not giving you the energy you need in that instant. It's not helping you.
Yeah, that one's for Sarah Hartley. That one.
Yes, she had a full fry up before. But that's actually, I think she would hold her hands up and say she knew that wasn't the right nutrition, but she was so blasé about running with you. She just didn't pay any proper attention to it.
She's going for the intensity
Full
argument.
fry.
Yes. Yeah.
Literally. Said she felt awful.
Dairy, things to avoid before a run.
Totally personal. Like I'm absolutely fine having dairy before a run.
Got it.
But other people might not be. And that one is a real like, dairy is not bad for you. And dairy is not the devil. Like I feel like it's been getting a lot of bad press recently.
Yes, because a lot of people anecdotally would say that cutting out dairy has helped them with feeling less bloated or like potential allergies and so on. So that, that's, I would agree, individual, but I'm fine with dairy too.
Yeah.
We've already kind of covered off high fiber foods. So in the list we've got here, beans, raw vegetables, bran cereal.
It's not you're not gonna have a nice time.
Yeah, you're gonna feel those.
You are.
Feel those.
And that's the things like really high fiber mueslis and granolas.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're better off having cornflakes. Yeah. Like pre-run.
So interesting. Yeah.
And then spicy food because of the risk of kind of reflux or a dodgy tummy.
Yeah, and again, completely personal because like it might be the night before having spice might be terrible for someone. Like I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But then again, individual. If your spice tolerance is really high, but I mean, you're probably not going to have a curry and then run. Like everyone, if you think about the thought of that, everyone goes, oof. Yeah. There's a reason your body's response is, oof, no, don't like that idea.
And then funnily enough, on this list of things to avoid before a run, although we've kind of covered it already, was sugary foods like sweets and fizzy drinks, I think would be crazy to drink beforehand.
Yeah, I think fizzy drinks, the carbonation, like the gas, especially also if they're diet ones with like synthetic sugars in, that's going to send you absolutely sideways. Yeah. Like if you think about chugging a really fizzy drink and then running, like
what's the internet challenge? Is it the Sprite challenge?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it is where you've got to down a whole bottle of Sprite and then the burps that come are horrific. That is a fairly viral thing. We're not going to make you do that.
No,
today.
I was going to say,
actually, that could be our social content.
But the sugary foods, I would 100% disagree that that's a bad idea. Like I love a handful of Haribos before I leave the door to go and do a track session. Like on the regular, we'll keep a bag of Haribos in my track bag because it's a good thing. It's a good little sugar boost. Yeah. Rather than having to have a full gel mid a really long track session, just having a few Haribos. Like it is the quick sugar that's going to get into your bloodstream that's then going to give you that little boost. It's going to help with some glycogen sparing, which is the science of why gels work. Just keeps your body going. And actually, sugary food is a brilliant thing to have before a run, especially if you're wanting that little like pep in your step.
Amazing. Well, shall we wrap up with a quick fire kind of what should you have post run, and then also this whether I'm trying to do it relatively quickly because Rick will want to wrap us up obviously, but I always got told 30-minute window post exercise. My understanding now is it's kind of like just eat something at some point and the quicker the better. So there's kind of two arguments. There is the two windows. So you've got within the first 20 to 30 minutes you want something which has got a 3-to-1 carbohydrate to protein ratio, but that is for if you need to recover really quickly. So you've got another session that evening, we've got another session the next morning.
I see.
Yeah, so that's like... As a pro athlete, I was running 12 times a day, 12 times a day, 12 times a week. God, and so I had to recover before the next... Because, I guess...
Is that why you missed out on a medal? Overtraining.
Oh, my goodness, I hate you. So you're running so many times that you're almost thinking, well, I've got another run later, or I've got to run again tomorrow.
Exactly.
And so you're trying to recover for that.
Yeah, so that's what it's like super gold important for. But if you're also not having a meal within the next 2 hours, I would also really encourage you to do that. So if you're doing a session, then you've got to get on the tube, it's going to take you an hour to get home, then you're going to shower, then you're going to change, then you're going to cook. Have something in that half an hour window. Even if it's, my go-to is a bottle of chocolate milk. It is so easy. I had it in my bag, got my medal, picked up my bag, had my bottle of chocolate milk yesterday.
But you said you get a bit of stick for mentioning chocolate milk.
I do, but because people think that it's full of sugar and it's really bad for you, but it's like, it's exactly what I want. I want the sugar.
So even if you're not running again for a couple of days, within that first 20 minutes? 20
to 30 minutes, especially if you've done a hard session, I can guarantee you will guarantee you will feel better. Just having that thought of like, okay, is there something I can put in my bag or have in the fridge for when I get home that is like 330 mils of chocolate milk, not the protein version, the normal version, because you want the carbohydrate and the chocolate milk naturally has protein in it.
Yeah, because funnily enough, the kind of gym, fitness, bodybuilding supplement type protein shakes often have no carbs in them at all.
Exactly, which defeats the point.
Yeah. So they have a point, I suppose, at different parts in like an exercise cycle, but immediately post-exercise, you're saying that.
Because what you're trying to do is replace the glycogen stores and rebuild your legs from what they've just done. And if you don't give yourself energy, it's well and good having that protein, but then what is your body using to turn that protein into recovery? So you've got to actually drive those processes with energy. But that's your first window. And then the second window is like 1 to 2 hours-ish. Just try and have a good meal, like a balanced meal with protein, carbs, fats, and fiber. That balanced plate you see around. it's actually really useful to think when you're looking at your meal, am I ticking all of those boxes?
Yeah.
And actually just doing that is a really easy way to go, cool, I've ticked what I need. I've given my body what it needs. It'll then be nice to me. Carry on.
Amazing. I've got so many questions that I could follow up and ask you, but I won't because I'll get in trouble. But if you do have any specific questions and you're listening to this podcast and you'd like to get answers to them, you should email into podcast@therunningchannel.com and we'll do our best to speak to Siân and make sure we can kind of come back to you with some answers.
Speaking of questions, Siân, do you fancy sticking around to answer some?
Absolutely.
Okay, questions. We've skipped news today. The news is that Rick is a legend at pacing, but not a legend at remembering to raise nasal strips, which were a key part of the podcast content we're going to talk about.
Have you ever worn nasal strips, Siân?
I haven't, no. I'm hearing that you haven't either.
No, no, I forgot. I did meet a guy on the start line though last week who had the magnetic one where you put the two magnets.
Yeah, we tried it on last week's podcast.
And it pulls your nose apart. Literally a guy on the start line. Yeah. He was loving it.
I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I know. It's a bit clunky.
Yeah.
Bit clunky. Right. Jess from Fleet in Hampshire. Just listen to your recent podcast on scary goals. My sister set herself a massively big and scary goal this year to run 4 100-mile races for young epilepsy. Our niece was diagnosed with a rare form of epilepsy in 2018. She completed her first 100-miler the past weekend, and I had the honour of pacing her from mile 58. It was incredibly tough and a learning curve for her upcoming runs. She's truly inspired me. I've signed up for a 75-mile race, and I'm even considering bumping it up to 100 miles, which honestly feels terrifying. Yeah, it does. My question for you is, has someone in your life ever inspired you to push yourself that little bit further?
Well, incredible effort, both Jess and your lovely sister. So good luck for the remaining 3 and for your potential 75 or 100 miles. I actually think you're nuts. I think before even talking about inspiration and so on, you're inspiring me because it's so crazy, but 100 miles is terrifying.
That's a long way. What's that in kilometres? Really far.
160.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crazy.
No thanks. So Rick, who's inspired you?
Anytime I see someone who comes back from major surgery and learn,
You're talking about yourself again in the third person. This guy from the running channel.
Not talking about myself. Of far more serious things than me. Like there's a guy who had a double HTO, high tibial osteotomy, who messaged me actually after we ran Hackney, and to do that and you're literally not walking for 6 months. Go through all that and to get back, and far more serious than what happened to me. Anyone who gets back to running full fitness just inspires me endlessly. So it's often more people who go through tough times and don't think they're going to be able to do it again, but they just work really hard.
Oh, wow. I'm going to come to you in a second, Siân, so be thinking. I'm going to do a really quick one. It says someone in my life. So Dave Jeffs was his name. He sadly passed away. He was my athletics coach from the age of 11 to 18, and we stayed in touch, and I used to go and hang out with him whenever I was at home. He inspired me because, this was evident at his funeral actually, there wasn't enough space. All of the people that he'd impacted through his life coaching kids of school age and beyond all came back to kind of pay their respects to this person that stood in the hammering rain and wind and out on cross country courses and out the track and stuff like that for no money because he just loved doing it. And that's the person that inspired me to kind of and I'd never listened to him. So for the first 5 or 6 years of him coaching me, I was convinced I was an 800 meter runner, and I never even made it to our national school championships because I was convinced I was an 800 meter runner. He was hammering me every year to do 1500 meters.
Really?
And I finally gave in when I was about 16. Yeah. And then that's the rest is history, I suppose.
Coaches, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like people who do things not because they're being paid, but because they just want to help.
And he wasn't climbing Everest or this. He was just showing up every week, and sometimes that's just as important.
Like people who give to their community.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's really nice. Siân.
Yeah. I'm probably going to say my mum.
Oh, that's good.
I ran my first marathon for her. So she had breast cancer, and my grandma also had breast cancer. And when my mum was really poorly and having awful treatment, it was also a time when I thought I wouldn't really run again. And then being able to go back and do something that she always wanted to do, but didn't even know if she'd be able to see me do it. So yeah, I think she always makes me just go, actually, no, we can keep going. Like People can do really hard things.
Yes.
People can come out the other side of really hard things. And actually, whatever your challenge is, you can apply it to anything and keep going.
Yeah.
I think it's that people keeping going though. Like when things do get hard, like there is always somewhere you can come from.
Yeah. It's amazing that we've all kind of picked people or the types of people who are not necessarily famous, well-known, big stars, but someone who's, either close to you or, who's inspired you personally. That's really nice. Right. Club question. Stephen Pert. Do you think that's how I pronounce Stephen's surname? Pert? P-E-A-R-T?
Could be Pert.
Pert. Could be.
Who knows? Apologies, Stephen.
Hi, Stephen. How many of you do double run days? And if so, how do you structure them to maximize benefit and minimize overload? I'm about to go out and run a zone 2/3 7-kilometer run. This evening, I'm in a race, 4-kilometer relays. But although it's a race, we are running as a family team and very much with the emphasis on fun rather than racing. It's a beautiful morning here in Devon. Oh, he's painting a good picture. Hence the 7 kilometres.
Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast? I simply can't see any reason not to run twice in a day. Sean, I think this is one for you, isn't it?
Well, I mean, this is a use case for that 30-minute window.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay, so personally, we're not elite athletes. What's the need to, what's the goal of that zone 2-3 7-kilometer? If you're racing this evening, I know it's for fun.
It sounds like he just wants to look at the scenery.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds stunning. I'll come join you.
Yeah.
A shakeout. It's just a long shakeout.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If it's a long shakeout and you're not doing all the time, like you're not doing 2 sessions, whatever, it's about balancing your kind of load across the week, but also supporting that nutritionally. Unless you're supporting it nutritionally, you're not going to recover properly. So then your risk of overload and overtraining just skyrockets.
Yeah.
And if you're not recovering properly. So actually, if you're fueling really well around those 2 run periods, it's okay.
Yeah.
I
think it depends on the level and like your overall volume. So most people don't need to run twice a day.
No.
If you're not, it's sensible to have rest days in your week, or at least rest days in your training periods. And if you are not running every single day, then the need to run twice in one day is pretty low. And I'd space them out if you can. But if it's a sort of thing that might actually allow you to get 1 or 2 rest days in. So if you are doing quite a lot of runs, 7 or 8 runs in a week, and you want to do a couple of days where you're doing 2 of those on one day, that allows you to say have Friday off. But it's so important. I know that, Sean, one of the things I was going to ask you about, but we definitely don't have time for, is RED-S, which is relative energy deficiency in sport, which is kind of what you're talking about there. If you don't fuel around doing a lot of exercise and you're energy deficient, then you'll get injured, ill, and all sorts of other horrible things.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm actually doing research into RED-S at the moment, and your availability of energy throughout the day, not even just across a week, like in a day. If you run in the morning and then in a massive deficit, don't eat properly, then push it in the evening, then go to bed, could be in trouble.
Do you think that more people are getting RED-S, or do you think we're just more aware of it?
I think both. I think more people understand it now, and I also think more guys are aware of the symptoms of it's not just losing your period.
Yeah, it was traditionally something that was, I believe, originally called the female athlete triad.
Yeah, so it's based on the female athlete triad, but now it's very much, actually there's so much more to it, and very much looking at it holistically as an athlete. Like it could be that you're super stressed at work.
Yeah.
That's then impacting everything else. It could be you're not sleeping properly. Like there's a whole host of things that can all come together and leave you with an injury, burnout.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one.
So
speaking of burnout,
be sensible.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm having a few rest days, but they've set us a crazy challenge this week. We've got to run 500 meters of elevation.
Yes.
Doesn't sound very nice, does it? I'm not even sure if that's possible.
Well, you know, it must be for you. You talk about living in the Himalayas of North London.
I do live in the Himalayas of North London. So
for you, it's easy. You just go out the door.
It's easier for me to, but I'm after running a half. I just think 500 meters. I don't think we've thought that through.
I would say you can do it on a treadmill.
It's not a bad idea.
Just yoink it right
Against
up.
the spirit of it.
yeah. It's kind of against.
Are you going to find one hill and go up and down?
Andy, do you remember one of the training sessions that we did growing up was the steps in West Kirby?
Yes.
Yeah.
Up the column, up to the beacon.
Up to the
Up column.
on the Wirral.
Yeah.
That was a bit of an effort.
That is a very niche reference for anyone not
very
from
niche,
the Wirral.
very niche. Yeah.
But yeah,
right. Sean, it's been lovely having you.
No, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Really, really good fun. You must come back sometime.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah. I'm going to change my life because of what you've said today.
Are you going to try some bagels?
I'm going to have bagels every time. I'm going to follow the 90-minute rule as well.
Nice.
So I'm going to work backwards, follow the 90-minute rule.
Yeah.
We'll report back.
Have bagels. I'm going to do everything, but I'm going to stick with my chicken katsu curry. That's it.
You know, if it works for you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me.